How do the concepts of philosophy reinforce the concepts of Panentheism? The very concept of being able to develop a unified view of the universe implies the universe is an entity. This in itself implies the universe is within something, which is the definition of Panentheism. This something as defined could be a causative force, the source, or what religions call or have called God in a general sense. A unified view of the universe has been abandoned by philosophy over the recent centuries. Philosophy has fallen behind. It has shirked its duties. It has fallen prey to the worry over hell. It has missed the boat. It has forgotten it is the foundation to both religions and science. It has been shattered into a million pieces. It has lost contact of a global need. It has forgotten its aim. Its purpose is to provide a unified view of the universe. It is only through this understanding that we can begin to understand what we are as individuals and as a species. How can we step into the heavens until we have an understanding of this concept? In this lack of confidence, philosophy has avoided its primary aim and concentrated instead on the second aim, clarity of thought. The reason clarity of thought is so important is not for the sake of thinking clearly, but rather because thinking clearly is the best means we have to understand our faiths and our observations. It is only through clear thought that we can develop logical models of the universe. It is only through clear thought that we can build a unified view of the universe. Thus, the second aim of philosophy, clear, critical thinking, reason, rationale, is the means by which we can accomplish the first and primary aim of philosophy, a unified view of the universe. Philosophy is so afraid it may be wrong if it builds a unified view of the universe that it has avoided the task altogether. But by now, philosophy should realize that science builds models with the view that these models are only temporary. These models are only intended to explain what we know today, theories, and in fact are intended to be modified and even discarded as we learn more tomorrow and beyond. Any unified view of the universe which philosophy builds today should be looked at as temporary. Any unified view of the universe is intended to best explain what faith, observations hold to be true. As such, it is a unified view, a universal philosophy, which must act as a foundation to what we already believe and see, negating nothing, building, not destroying what has come before. It cannot be developed on its own, but rather must take what is known to build the model. It is not called a unified view because it destroys, but because it unifies. It is time for philosophy to get back on task and build a model, and possibly 2, 3, or 4 models, just as in science. What does philosophy reinforce about the significance of existence or life? If philosophy establishes a unified view, a universal philosophy, it has no option but to recognize the significance of life since it is a part of the whole. If life is within the whole, it is part of the whole. Life cannot have more significance than the whole of which it is a part. Few of us would object to the concept that we, a life form, are a part of the universe. If we accept this, if we ever come to the understanding that the universe may eventually die out, then the only conclusion we can draw is that life will eventually die as well. The only way around this is to accept the idea that life is a part of something greater than the universe. This is the reason we intuitively feel that the significance of life lies not in the physical alone, but in the abstract concept of the soul. Granted, this may not be the case, but we have to make a choice one way or the other. There is no in-between that we can presently conceive of. Selecting one or the other is not a normal question, but a question of choice. Our history of searching and suffering for idealism, religions, science, reason, love, and compassion has been in the realm of confirming and protecting the concept of the abstract, the soul, being the important essence of our species. We could give this all up. We do have the choice, but why would we do this? Why would we reject everything our ancestors have done for us to protect our ability to think of ourselves in the most idealistic fashion? Perceptions mold behavior, and maintaining the most idealistic perception reasonably possible would generate the most idealistic behavior of our species. To choose to lower our perception of the significance of life being limited to physicality or physical reality, scientific materialism, and would generate a lowering of our behavioral standards, and few would suggest this would be a positive course of action. It only leads to nihilism. If we have the ability to choose a perception of the significance of life, it would most probably be a type of perception that benefits to all life forms, earthbound or otherwise. Development of such a perception, a unified view, is where philosophy should be headed. Philosophy needs to renew its commitment to understanding what the universe is, why it exists, what we are, why we exist, what life is, and what the purpose of life is. In short, philosophy needs to refocus upon the concept of a unified view, a universal philosophy.